Hello, my name is Kelly Stringer, and I'm going to be presenting my analysis of Emily Dickinson's poem, Because I Could Not Stop for Death. In Emily Dickinson's poem, Because I Could Not Stop for Death, Dickinson uses a combination of imagery, metaphors, symbols, and personification to show a transition from life to death for her speaker. The narrative-like style creates a peaceful tale of accepting death's call when it comes. This poem tells of the speaker's peaceful and slow experience as she remembers the day of her death centuries later. Dickinson presents a positive look on death and coming to terms with it when it is one's time for death. Dickinson uses a casual flow in her poem, with occasional rhyming like ground and mound in lines 14 and 16, and E-ending sounds in lines 2 and 4. The lines in her poem alternate between 8 and 6 syllables. This gives the poem a paced feel, like the speaker is slowly telling the tale. This reflects what happened to the speaker, allowing the reader to feel the calmness and slowness of her carriage ride with death. Dickinson writes death as the carriage driver for the speaker's last ride through life. When the speaker is too busy to stop for death, he kindly stops for her in line 2 of the poem. Death is described in line 8 as having civility, being polite and courteous. He is not frightening or pushy, but trustworthy and possibly seductive to the speaker, for she does not fight death, but willingly accepts his proposal for a carriage ride. In line 4, immortality is capitalized and mentioned as one that was in the carriage, possibly making him a personified character as well, signifying that death and immortality go hand in hand with one another. Two of the major metaphors created by Dickinson are the carriage ride and the house. The carriage represents the speaker's ride away from life to death and immortality. In lines 3 and 4, the speaker mentions how she is alone with death and immortality in the carriage. The carriage suggests that life does not flash before her eyes, but the speaker experiences it as a slow ride while leaving the mortal world. It felt to the speaker to have taken a day, seen in line 18, rather than a few seconds or minutes. Lines 9 through 11 show the carriage passing by children and fields, possibly as the speaker revisits past events in her life. It could also show that the world continues on when one dies. The pause in line 13 signals the end of the carriage ride, and that death's work is done. The speaker is at the end of her transition to death as she sees the new home of her mortal body, a grave. Line 14 describes this home as a swelling of the ground. This represents that the home is made from earth, perhaps a mound of dirt placed upon a grave. Line 16 continues to describe the decoration of the home as but a mound, signifying again dirt in the ground. In line 12 of the poem, it says, "We pass the setting sun." The setting of the sun expresses the fact that the speaker's life is coming to a close. The use of the word past in this line could show that the speaker is leaving the earth. The carriage travels beyond the sun, taking the speaker to the place of the immortal, a place unknown. The speaker is leaving behind the place where there is time, and it is based off the sun's positions. Time is a concept of the mortal world, which the speaker is no longer a part of. The theme of time spreads the entire poem, beginning in line 1. The speaker is so busy with her life that she does not have the time to stop for death. So, in line 2, death kindly stops time for her. Line 5 shows a stoppage of time, as it says, "We slowly drove, he knew no haste." There is no need for rushing because time is not a factor in death. There is no time for labor or leisure, as all time is still in death, because the speaker has left the realm of time when she started on her journey in the carriage to the setting sun. This ties into the slow journey on the carriage, as there is no need to rush through the events from the speaker's childhood to her grave. The end of the poem suggests it has been centuries since the speaker's death, but these days don't feel as long as the day of her death. This is possibly because of the entire journey through her life, which was set to time, making it feel longer than the days in death, which are timeless. This poem by Emily Dickinson recounts the speaker's experience with death years after it occurred. The use of imagery, metaphors, personification, and symbols all create a story that follows the speaker's journey from time to life to the eternity of death. This poem was calm and peaceful, giving the reader a more positive view on death. Dickinson created a powerful tale of her perception of accepting the next adventure after life, death.